Okay, so coming into a comfortable seat. So bringing your attention into the body. Feeling into the body. And for a moment here, with your attention in the body, just using your mind to scan through the body. And noticing areas of hardness. Yeah, let's start with that. Just noticing any areas of hardness. So this might speak to where there might be some tightness or tension in the body, any kind of sense of gripping or holding, maybe any contraction in the muscles. You might also be drawn to where the body connects with the chair. Of course, that might depend on the type of chair, of what you're seated upon. But particularly that connection between, say, around the hips, the buttocks, the lower back. And for a moment, having a sense of your bones. Now, although our bones aren't completely hard or completely solid, they're probably the hardest thing in the body. Particularly if you think about the skull protecting the brain, the ribs protecting our internal organs, sense of the lungs, the heart, stomach, liver. Our limbs, we have quite long bones in the limbs, with the thigh bone being the longest. Maybe just for a moment having a sense of all the bones in the wrists and the hands. in the fingers. I think we have 3 bones in each finger. Lots of bones in the wrist. And we could take that curiosity to the ankles and the feet. Again, lots of bones in the ankles to help them do that rotation, all that movement. Bones in the feet and the toes. And bringing your attention to your spine, made up of bones and ligaments, the nerves all running through. So interestingly, when we might sort of first think of bone, we can think of that hardness, particularly in, say, the skull, where there's little flexibility. As I say, these long bones in the limbs. Then we have our joints, of course. We mentioned about the wrists and the ankles. But the spine also, we have amazing flexibility in this construction. Maybe even just sitting here without necessarily moving, but maybe taking a few deeper breaths. We might feel a sense of flexibility and movement in the spine. And even within the rib cage itself. As we breathe in, we can feel it expand, allowing for the lungs to get bigger. And then we feel it all come back to its kind of natural shape as we breathe out. And so it goes on. So we can feel this flexibility in the hardness within our bodies. And as you bring your attention to the body, you can probably feel your feet flat on the floor. You can feel the position of your legs. They're probably pretty stable. And then the pelvis. The bones here also protecting internal organs, giving us a sort of a core, a sense of stability. And then the upper body lifting out of the pelvis, sitting tall if we can, if that's accessible to us. Frame of the shoulders and the arms. And we've sometimes talked about having a sense of the frame of the body, the skeleton, the bones. So we're just getting a sense of this kind of hardness, but actually there's a flexibility in some of that. We've got quite a lot of freedom for movement. And obviously our muscles contract, so harden up when we need to use them. That's when we need to lift, push or pull, move around. We'll have some core muscles that keep the body upright. But we can soften around the frame. So as best we can, just letting go. Releasing, allowing the muscles to soften where they can. And we can do a few different things to support that. We can draw on the energy of the smile. Bringing a small but real smile to the mouth. This can help invite a sense of softness in. We can use the breath. So we can deepen it as much as we wish. We can direct the breath into a particular area of the body if we need to. And this helps to kind of bring that sense of expansion. We can sort of lengthen, expand that area, and then we can release it on the out breath, allowing it to become softer. We can use the word soft, softening, softness. Just a gentle repetition, perhaps as we breathe out or as we breathe in. Maybe something we don't often think of when we're meditating, of course, is we can bring in touch. So maybe there's a particular part of the body, if it's accessible to reach, you give it a gentle squeeze, a gentle rub. Could be along the shoulders there. And the neck. So this softening around the frame brings the body, the brain, into its natural resting state. It's still a state that we can be alert and awake and aware. But there doesn't have to be a contraction or a rigidity, too much of a hardness. And perhaps even just for a moment bringing our attention back to the bones. We sometimes imagine that the bones are solid. But actually they have holes in. They look a bit like a sponge. So you could even imagine that there's this gentle softness and fluidity in the bones. Of course, there are cells there, nerves. Our oxygen reaches the cells of the bones. So we can start to imagine this softness from the inside out. Using the smile, your breath, words, touch to support you. And it may be from time to time that there's a moment of reactivity, a clenching, maybe a thought drops in, a worry, causing a reaction in the body. So as soon as we notice a thought, an emotion, a sensation, a contraction, noticing that it's there, having an interest, a curiosity. And then if it feels right, inviting it to soften. And perhaps knowing this, that the body is very happy that we've spent this time with it in its natural resting state. For some, it can feel like coming home. And knowing too that we can come back to this state whenever we choose to. But for now, we'll bring this practice to a close. You might like to just take a moment to feel your feet on the ground. Feel your seat in the chair. Noticing your breath for a breath in and a breath out. And we'll close this practice here. So, taking your time, gently shifting out of the practice, perhaps wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, opening the eyes when you feel ready, taking in your surroundings, and taking a moment to stretch, stand and stretch if you need to. Thank you for your practice.